And now it's time to check out what happened at the Fast Pitch Business Competition with our two winners. First, let's take a look at Tamara Vukusic, and then Dennis Smith.
Our next presenter is Kamloops lady, who is a stay-at-home mom with a background, Diane, I know you'll appreciate this, in journalism and media relations and all that other good stuff. And she's also very interested in reintroducing a dying art, conversation amongst family members. It's crazy how much screen time kids are spending and not talking to mom and dad and grandma and grandpa. And this lady has come up with a product that is a solution to this important problem. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next presenter, representing Spark Story Starters, Tamara Vukusic. Yay!
Yeah, so my husband and I have been using open-ended questions, a lot of the Spark questions around the table for the last couple of years as a way of getting our kids engaged at dinner, because more and more that family time becomes really, really important as a time to connect, and we wanted to make good use of it. And so I was at a friend's 40th birthday party away for the weekend with a bunch of other friends about to turn 40, and we were talking about the importance of dinner time, and a number of the other moms were saying they find it really hard to get their kids to keep a bum in a seat and have some meaningful conversation. And so I started to tell them about the Spark questions. They weren't called Spark questions back then, they were just our family questions. And they were all really, really interested in it. And so I started to share some questions and get some really positive feedback. And then very quickly, so that was August. By the end of September, I decided, okay, I'm gonna print these, I'm gonna do something with it.
I'd like to start by getting a show of hands. How many of you are parents? All right, how many of you parents have perfect communication with your kids 100% of the time?
Oh, that's a setup.
How many of you are interested in finding new ways to stay connected with your kids? Awesome show of hands. I'm a mom, I have two boys, Adam and Finn, they're 4 and 6. And I'm also the chair on the Parents Advisory Committee at my son Adam's school. And I feel like that gives me a good sense of what parents are talking about. And what I'm hearing is that parents want their kids to talk to them. They also want to find ways to encourage their kids to be creative and to problem solve. A new study is telling us that kids are getting an average of 7 hours of screen time every day. That's computer, video games, and TV every day. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could have a fun and meaningful interaction with our kids with the help of a simple deck of cards? That's what Spark Story Starters is all about.
So my nickname around my house is the sticky note queen. The last piece of electronic device I had for organizing myself was a Palm Pilot. And one day I was out skidooing and it got busted in my backpack. So then I turned to sticky notes for, close to a decade. And then my husband was getting an iPhone, and for the purpose of iCal and just organizing our lives, I decided to get one. And then I just realized, as I look around me, that to keep up with kids, and as they're getting into social media marketing, I was starting to feel really behind. And I worry about my 4 and 6-year-old when they're older, thinking ahead to them being in high school and going away to university and getting left in the dust. And so I thought, what would be really cool, like a really good way to dive in with both feet, is to figure out this whole app thing. So I said, I just turned 40 and I'm gonna build an app. You gotta make 40 work for you, right? Yeah. And so I was able to find a developer in Vancouver who's just an amazing woman to work with, and it all happened very quickly.
As for the app, there are 100 million iPhone and iPod users worldwide, so the market for the app is growing every day.
Yeah, we printed the cards actually early December because we wanted to give them to friends as gifts, so we sent out 100 to friends with kids. And our thought process was, if this is all a bust, it's a really great thing to give to hospitals across Canada. There's burn wards, there's oncology wards, there's a lot of places where kids are spending a lot of idle time with family. And so our thought process was, because we did a small print run, that worst case scenario is, yeah, we're out some money, but we make a really great contribution to a bunch of places where we think they can be used.
There's two things that make them different from the other products on the market in the US. Number one, all of the questions are open-ended. As a journalist, I have a true appreciation for the importance of open-ended questions to really get people talking and storytelling. Number two, there are no right or wrong answers with Spark, and parents and teachers are giving this a thumbs up.
So Pete sits on the Venture Kamloops business corral, and so he had contacted me to find out more about Spark Cards and also to give me some ideas. And right away on the phone, he was full of ideas. I mean, you can't give Peter a barrier that sits at all. Like it just boom, boom, like he has an idea for everything. And actually, as a result of an early conversation with him, he suggested that I do a free version of Spark to get people on board and then to start, selling copies that way. So I did that. I think that was a great suggestion. It's not up in the App Store, but yeah. And so he had a lot of ideas. Another thing about Peter that I appreciate is there's a really big intrinsic value for me with this, and that is basically getting families talking and getting kids to be imaginative, because I think these are things that are getting harder in society as we know it. And one of the things that was plaguing me is I really want to print in Canada, but that brings the cost up. And right away he said, well, have you thought of printing in Canada and having the higher price point, but for every deck you sell, giving away a deck to a charity of choice, that people could choose a charity and I could send out the cards. And for me, that gave me a new raison d'etre for the project, because I thought, wow, like there's a way to make this a win-win. And now he's an innovative thinker. He with the Race to a Million, nice guys can finish first. He lives it and breathes it and walks it and talks it.
Okay, and I wish I had another 5 minutes to tell you about all of the other Spark products coming down the pipe. I'll tell you that they all inspire creativity. They all promote family unity. They will be multilingual, and together they'll make Spark Your Imagination the #1 fun and educational selling product in Canada.
Representing Ripcharger, ladies and gentlemen, would you please help me welcome Mr. Dennis Smith and Mr. Casey Dundas.
Well, I think it was, when you get a prototype working and you start to feel the effects of what the machine is going to do with it on, it's awe-inspiring, and it makes you go a little bit further and do the things that you need to do. So, it's all driven by the fact that this product is amazing.
Our company has developed the first ever aftermarket bolt-on supercharger kit for two-stroke engines. So turbocharging, supercharging, a little background. A turbocharger is a forced air induction system that compresses air, sends it into the combustion chamber, add more fuel, lots of horsepower. Turbochargers are the standard right now. They're awesome. They give the big power. Turbocharger uses exhaust to drive the turbine. A supercharger comes right off the crankshaft. So turbochargers are great. They've set the standard. They get the big power, but they have turbo lag. You hit the gas and it just kind of goes up, but you get there. They add weight. There's a complicated installation. They're high maintenance, but they are the standard and they get what you want. Along comes Ripcharger. Boom, we solved all the problems. We've ticked all the boxes. Our power, Ripcharger, is raw instant power. Instant power, no lag. Superchargers, that's what everyone wants. We reduce the weight, simple installation, low maintenance as well. So we're a dream for the dealer.
It was probably almost 2 years ago now, and I sat on the snowmobile, and not being an avid snowmobiler, but enough to know that this thing was something. I had taken up 2 other brand new snowmobiles, a friend and I, and this old clunker prototype that Russ had going, and we raced across the lake, and he walked away from us, and I looked at my friend and I said, this is real. So it was very, very exciting, and haven't looked back since.
So we're going to enter the market. We got mountains all around us. It's beautiful in the snowmobile industry. Not only is it a fun industry, it's $28 billion. The average snowmobiler spends $4,000 a year on their sled. They're a little bit crazy. Every year there's 110,000 new snowmobiles produced. Our technology goes back 5 years, so do the math. There's a whole lot of them out there. Our research is 1 out of 8 of these people will add some huge performance enhancing device, such as a supercharger or a turbocharger, which translates into a $68.7 million market for Ripcharger annually.
I looked at this project and thought, okay, well, It's a brand, it's a world's first, and I'm involved in selling a lot of technology with skis and snowboards, etc. So I looked at this and thought, this is something that I can apply, some of my knowledge of that and how to market that and what people, looking for, how to package it and build a brand and, make it something. So trying to take a little bit of an out-of-the-box approach to a product that's in a field that's not necessarily something that I normally deal with. And I've been involved in other startups where that kind of thinking works because you're not mired in old school thinking or mired in the politics. You just look at it as a product and you just make it happen.
Seasoned team, solid growth strategy, attractive margin story, huge market potential, $100 billion, 30% tax credit for you guys, and we would like you to give us $500,000 to supercharge our business.
But I've known Dean for a long time and known of Peter and attended some of his meetings and see that they're astute at understanding what needs to happen for a startup company and taking a product through and all of the meat and potatoes in the middle that most people don't understand.